Welcome back, learners. We are discussing today the energy conservation audit and accounting. For the benefit of the learners who have joined us late, let me introduce our experts. I have with us Dr. Ajay Mathur, Director General, Bureau of Energy Efficiency, Mr. K.K. Chakravarti, Energy Economist from Bureau of Energy Efficiency, and Mr. Sunil Kumar, Deputy Director from National Productivity Council. I have a request to our learners that whenever they are asking their question, please let me know the fellow learners who are present at that particular center. Now I would like to request Mr. K.K. Chakravarti to please continue the presentations.
Thank you, sir. We were discussing about the energy auditing concept and how to assess the technical losses in the 11 kV feeder. Now, while continuing with the same presentation, let me conclude on how to determine the feeder losses. Basically, after determining the technical losses and certain assessment, then we will be in a position to determine the technical losses, that is energy sent into the feeder and all the losses accounted for. So we will be in a position to find out the total energy input output of the 11 kV feeder. But there will be certain areas for which we have to assess certain loss components. For example, for on 11 kV line which is sent from where the energy is sent to the substation, if the line is 11 kV up to 20 km, then we presume 1% of the total energy is lost. Then if it is more than less than 20 km, then 0.5% total energy sent out through the 11 kV line from the substation is lost. So total technical losses in 11 kV feeder, this is equal to the sum of 11 kV line losses, which includes distribution transformer losses, LT network losses, then energy losses in the loose jump connections, service mains and energy meters. Coming to the commercial losses, how we can determine the commercial losses. Basically, the commercial losses in the feeder are is the difference of energy.
Yeah, please speak Dali.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Before the start of any energy auditing or energy managing, we had a task for the energy conservation.
Yes, of course.
Before the start of energy conservation, we must start for the awareness of saving the energy. As we are seeing in the newspapers and the TVs also, there is a wide publicity for the polio drops. I mean that for this abolishing this Mahamari, our government and everyone is very much aware and just advertising to abolish the system. So in the energy audit, in the energy in the utility, we are very much less persons, only 2 or 3% percentage is there to give the awareness to the public. My question is, have government has any other has just starting any program for the awareness of the same? Thank you.
Learner is concerned about the awareness of the energy conservation and energy saving. So Dr. Mathur would like to comment on it.
I think the
Yeah, before we answer the first question, we can take this another call also. Yes, please speak. Vadodara.
Dr. Munish Bhardwaj.
Yeah.
I am SS Mistry calling from Vadodara Center.
Yeah.
We are 15 students assembled here.
Thank you.
Sir, due to power failure, we could not listen answer of Dr. K.K. Chakravarti to 5 query I have sent to you through email.
Yes. We can.
If you could briefly summarize answer to that query or
Yes.
Post it on website, it would be of great help. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, certainly at the end of this session we will again give that response to your query, and I would like to request Dr. Mathur to respond to the first question regarding that awareness of the conservation, energy conservation.
I thank the learner for raising an extremely important issue, because until a person, you or I, know what we can do, it is difficult for us to achieve energy conservation. We all know that it is good to switch off lights. We all know that we should buy energy efficient devices. We all know that we should, when we are traveling, try to travel as in groups rather than individuals. Yet many of these things don't happen. Therefore, I think it is important, as the learner rightly said, to focus on providing useful information to people so that they can change their behavior and in the process achieve energy conservation without too much difficulty being taken on in doing these kinds of things. Therefore, one, of course, is, as I said earlier, the government has launched the labeling program for appliances. So there is a wide publicity campaign to tell people about this labeling program. And you would have seen in newspapers in all languages, you would have seen in magazines, we bring out periodically that this label is there, how to read the label, what it means. And also what we have started doing is giving a list of all the products which have been labeled and how many stars do they have. So we hope that next time you go to buy a refrigerator or an air conditioner or a tube light, you take this with you. The list is also available on your website. Or you take it from the magazines in which it has appeared, and take it with you when you go to buy such a device. Similarly, we are launching a major program for encouraging people to buy compact fluorescent lamps because of the huge benefit that is available both to them as a user as well as to the system because of lower load losses. So I thank the learner for his suggestions and will keep on trying to have very clear and targeted messages on energy conservation to energy users.
Dr. Mathur, we are seeing these ads in the newspaper, but I think it would be much more beneficial and it will add to the value when if we go for that this TV also.
Okay.
Some ads on TV.
Some of the ads are already on the TV. Some of the ads are already on the TV.
We have ads on some channels at certain times, even small strips which run, but since you raised the question, it obviously implies that it is not enough. So that is something else we will have to increase, and we will try to make sure that we go into programming which has got the highest viewership, so that the impact is also the highest.
And also, as the one idea comes to my mind that the main contributor towards these any campaign are the children. So if we can have this energy conservation, some topic of energy conservation in that this science and technology books or this social sciences book, then it would add more value to the system, and we can capture more and more people, because children are the big campaigner for any a new idea.
We are working with CBSE on introducing energy conservation and energy efficiency in the textbooks of class 7, 8, 9 and 10. It has already appeared, I think, in the books, in 2 books. I think 7th and 10th it has already appeared, because the CBSE has a cycle through which they change the books. So slowly it will come in all of them. And in all of them we have tried to bring it through examples and illustrations, rather than just writing that this is energy efficiency. They are like exercises. Go around your house, see how much energy is being used. If you change the bulbs to CFLs, what would happen? So when children do those kinds of exercises, they get a feel themselves, and more importantly, their parents get a feel. Another program that we have started, and we have done it for 2 years, and this year will be the 3rd year, is a painting competition on energy conservation for children of 4th and 5th classes across the country.
Yeah, we can take this call first. Yes, yeah, please speak. Bhopal, please speak.
I'm in State Electricity Board, Bhopal.
Yeah, can you inform the fellow learners?
What awareness we can bring for the poor people, that the cluster people, Juggi Jhopdi area? There are losses of the highest in that area, and what are the steps so that we can motivate to reduce the losses by, in terms of providing good electricity to them and providing the payback period should be good from them, by motivating them how we can get the maximum from them.
I think the first thing that we need to do is to figure out an exact analysis of the problem. I don't know about Bhopal, but in Delhi when the study was carried out, the losses in the Juggi Jhopdi were very, very small. They were far smaller than in the other categories of users.
Minimal.
So again, I think that is the first thing that has to be done. If the losses are there, it has to be figured out whether they are technical losses or whether they are commercial losses. If they are commercial losses, then I think what we need to look at is the regime within which we are providing connections. Are we providing connections, or are they being taken in a sense without regular connection? Because that's a very different issue. Second, is metering being done? If metering is being done, that to me is the best way of ensuring energy conservation, because people are paying their bills. Therefore, I would like to separate out the technical issues from the commercial issues, and also want you to figure out how large a problem is it. Is it the first problem we should tackle, or the 7th problem we should tackle?
Thank you, Dr. Mathur. We were discussing about the auditing and accounting, so please continue these discussions. If learner feels that there are more queries, then they are free to ask at any time.
I would like to add why a good campaign is required. Just few lines what my Director General has said. Basically, if you look at domestic sector, it is an unorganized sector. Government cannot go from door to door and tell a user to use this type of lamp or use efficient practices. So the only media or the tool available with the government is to launch a campaign. Campaign is a very costly component of the system, because it demands a lot of money. So anyhow, being costly, but since there is no other tool available with the regulatory authorities or the government or the distribution companies, the campaign has to be launched, the awareness has to be created. And it's such a complicated tool where the money which is invested today, the returns, the benefit which have been derived out of that campaign may not be visible in the time to come, but it takes time. Because it's a slow process. Changing habit, changing attitudes, it takes a lot of time. At my age, if I want to change myself, it's very difficult. I cannot change my habits. But slowly, once the consistent hammering is there, the things will change, and slowly we'll mend our attitude, and campaigns are effective in that way. So standard labeling program is another tool which is available with the government. This may come into your distribution utility system also. To begin with, the government has picked up energy consuming equipment and appliances which are mainly used in domestic sector: frost-free refrigerators, window air conditioners, lighting system. Now next in queue are ceiling fans, CFLs, and other such systems. But for distribution transformers also, the process is almost ready. It is in the final stages. And agricultural sector, again, I think you would agree with me, being in the distribution system, you know that this is a problem area. So if through standard labeling program, if we are in a position to notify the minimum energy performance standards of agricultural pump sets, we will be in a position to correct to some extent the distortion which has taken place in this very sector. So before proceeding to my presentation, I thought let me say a few words on the queries which were raised earlier. Now coming to the commercial losses, basically whatever the total losses are there, that is energy, whatever is being sent and whatever is being received, the balance is the total loss. And if we deduct out the technical loss what we have so far discussed, we will be in a position to assess what is the total commercial loss. So we can undertake the following activity to record such losses. The meter reading schedules of meter readers are revised and made conterminous with the distribution transformer. That is, the same day the readings are to be taken. On that day, distribution transformer meter is also read, and comparison is made between distribution transformer meter reading and sum total of consumption recorded in all other consumer meters coming under that distribution transformer. So that difference is basically the total loss, and total loss, if we deduct the technical loss, then we will get the commercial loss. This figure I have taken from your book, basically, which explains the energy accounting procedure for determining losses. In this particular figure, you may notice that two feeders are coming through which 10 million units and 5 million units electricity is being supplied, and through step down distribution transformers to the LT bus. Then we have three feeders going out. First feeder is sending 6 million unit, the second is sending 5 million unit, and the third one is sending 3 million units. So 15 million unit is being received and 14 million units is being sent out. So 1 million unit is lost, which is practically taking place between HT bus and LT bus. This is 6.6% loss which is taking place. So that's why we can segregate such type of losses in the various systems. Now if you work out the energy accounting of feeder 1, there was some misprint in your book, you can correct it. I think this 1.2 million unit was not mentioned, so that you can correct it in the feeder 1. So if you add up all that, you can get, we are in a position to account for approximately 5 million units. So 6 million unit is being sent and 5 million unit is the output, so 1 million unit is lost. So 16.6% is the loss in that particular component. So similarly for meter, the feeder 3 also, this similar accounting can be done. So what are the problems which are faced in presenting the actual losses, or giving the actual picture of losses? Since you are in the distribution system, you know that the energy meters which are provided on 11 kV feeders are of class 1 and class 0.5 accuracy, whereas at consumer installation the meters are of class 2 accuracy. So naturally the error will be different. Second, all the energy consumed is not recorded due to illegal tapping, theft, pilferage, etc. Third, the sending and readings are taken on a particular day, whereas the reading for consumers are taken in a staggered manner. When they do not match, when there is no paralleling between these two readings, it will be very difficult to assess the total losses. The meter readings of some consumers are not taken due to locked premises, defective meters. Even though the same day is fixed, but there could be a situation when some of the consumer meters are inaccessible. then meters are not reading at light load. For example, there are certain equipment and appliances which remain on standby mode. The normal conventional induction meters, they may not be in a position to read those readings. If a television set is on standby mode, it is consuming 10 watt of electricity, but your conventional induction meter may not read that. So there could be certain appliances which are consuming very low wattages, but that may not be read by such meters. Meters are not recording within prescribed accuracy limits. It may be different. Then assessment of consumption in respect of unmetered consumer is missing. So these are the conditions for perfect energy audit. All the consumer installations are metered. All the meters are read simultaneously. Electronic trivector meters are provided on secondary side of all the distribution transformers. The same accuracy class of energy meters are provided both the measuring energy input of system and energy sales. This is some sort of a format for preparing the detailed energy report. This is very well explained in your book, but as I said earlier, it depends on the type of audit which is being carried out, and it can be restructured, but all the energy audit reports shall have acknowledgement, as well as it should start with the executive summary, so that the top management is not compelled to get into the various sections before they come to know what are the energy saving opportunities or measures which are being proposed, and all these recommendations should be prioritized. That is short-term measures, medium-term measures and long-term measures. That priority has to be defined by the auditor. And secondly, any other chapter which is explained in the report, it should be self-content. We should not force the reader to have cross-references or ask him to go to annexure so and so. If at all annexure is coming or appendix is coming, that should be at the end of that particular chapter, so that the reader is not compelled to look into the report at many places. This is a format which can be used for segregating the type of energy saving measures. Now, what could be the actions which can be proposed? These are the basic guidelines. You may have more recommendations also. One is reconfiguration. For example, there is a substation which is supplying electricity to many consumers, and incidentally it may happen that one of the consumer, which is at the tail end of the feeder, is very close to another substation where the supply is available, and he can be provided supply from that substation. So instead of supplying electricity all the way, say, to a 10-kilometer long distance consumer, there could be a possibility that the consumer can be served from another substation from a distance of 1 kilometer. So if we reconfigure this supply, we will be in a position to reduce our technical losses. There may be many such examples. We had the opportunity of interacting with some of the energy auditor candidates in the YOC, which was earlier there. Such type of simple solutions does exist, and many of our energy engineers have taken such measures. So kindly look into this thing. Reconductoring. For example, if the feeders are overloaded or loaded to the maximum extent, as you know that if the average load to the rated capacity is approaching 100%, then it is in square proportion. So your full load you are achieving, you are going to incur the full load copper losses. So if we can reduce such losses through reconductoring, that is, if we can reduce the resistance through parallel conductor or changing the cable again to a higher size, we will be in a position to reduce such losses. Implying shunt capacitors. Kindly remember, I said two parameters which are very vital: ampere and resistance. Now, when we look at the load demands reactive power, there are three type of power: active power, apparent power, and reactive power. Active power is the useful output of power from any mechanical any drive. Reactive power is normally used in magnetizing the circuit. No useful output is achieved from this reactive power, but it imposes burden on the distribution system by increasing the current. And apparent power is the capacity which is normally mentioned on your all electrical appliances, that is the kVA. Your transformer is rated in kVA, your generator is rated in kVA, so that's the capacity which determines the heating capacity of that particular equipment. And it's a kVAR which is, I think, not much attention has been paid on this. There have been certain states where power factor improvement incentives have been granted, and many of the industries are now running on unity power factor. And it has reduced the distribution losses, the technical losses, to a greater extent. But we have not paid serious attention to such distribution systems which are going to the domestic sector, because domestic consumer is not supposed to correct its power factor. So all its reactive requirement, the tube lights, they operate at a very low lagging power factor. The CFL which are presently being used, they are operating at 0.5 power factor. Your induction, your ceiling fan, that is also inductive load. So basically, if you look at your home load requirement, approximately it may be anywhere between 0.5 to 0.6 power factor, and that means the efficiency of the utilization of electric power is very, very low because of this reactive power requirement. So that reactive power requirement has to be compensated. Let it not go to the generating site. It should be compensated very close to the load center, so that less current flows through the conductors. So shunt capacitors is one of the solutions to generate leading reactive power so as to compensate the lagging reactive power. Conversion from single circuit to double circuit, this is another option. Many industries have done it. I can tell you that many textile industries, where from distribution system, distribution bus bar, they take 11 kV feeders, and which goes, the distribution transformers are installed near the departments, and if some departments are operating at a very high load, what they have done, they have laid another parallel feeder. So it's a resistance in parallel, so resistance will go down, and ultimately your technical losses will go down. The same thing may happen in distribution system. That needs to be done. So we need to identify those feeders which are highly overloaded, and find out the possibility of double circuit. Setting up of more substation. Again, if a very, because we normally what we have is the radial feeders going 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers. So can we have more substations so that the consumers which are at the far off places can be supplied with such power from the nearest substation? Changeover from low voltage distribution system to high voltage distribution system. I think many of the utility systems or the distribution company have done it. So Delhi it has been done, and I know some other cases where after going in for HVDS system, the pilferage has gone down and the technical losses have gone down. This concept is very well there in abroad, where a single pole mounted transformer is installed, and which is feeding to 10 to 15 consumers, and not like what we have, the present system of taking LT line which is feeding 300, 400 houses. For reducing the commercial losses, we have to change over to static meters. It is being done, replacing all the burnt, stuck up, non-performing and underperforming meters, calibrating the existing meters. You may have flying squares to check the pilferage, and automatic meter readings for online recording. These are some of the instruments. Some instruments can be used by the industry, and other instrument can be used by professionals in utility or the distribution system. I will not explain, but basically they are clip-on type instruments, because we cannot interrupt the operation of a particular equipment. We need to have clip-up type of systems. So these instruments are used to measure power, the flue gas analysis and airflow, assessing air leakages, water flow. So these instruments are being used by professional energy auditors in the industry. So with this, I thank you a lot on sharing experience on the topic, that is energy auditing. I would like to say again, energy auditing is not a simple concept. It's a very, very difficult concept, but is once we get into this exercise, you will really enjoy in getting benefited from the type of efforts we have done.
Yeah, Bhopal, please speak.
Sir, this regarding this LT side metering, sir. Time and again we speak that we should install a good meter at the consumer premises. We should be theft free actually. So what type of meter the government or central government is proposing so that it is able to record all the energy sold by eliminating the different types of theft. So there must be one single opinion that this type of meter is good for the consumer end. Okay, sir. This is
Mr. Chakravarti.
I may not have the reply to your query because we are not the people who are in this type of activity. Basically, we deal with policy related issue with energy efficiency. But hopefully, I think Dr. Bhardwaj will be in a position to consult some experts on the subject and get back to you.
Yes, certainly. Right now we have Mr. Sunil Kumar. He would like to comment, and for further clarifications, we can send that query to the other experts also, if the learner is not satisfied. Yes.
Yeah, regarding LT side metering, as such, SCBs in total, that means all SCBs all over India, or you can say the DISCOMs, none of them actually have come to a common platform to decide this problem. This is being seen in separate light altogether, that most of the DISCOMs or SCBs, they are trying to tackle the problem by their own methods. Yes, it's a good suggestion that government should come out with kind of common policy on this LT side of metering, whether you need to have this accuracy LT side of meters or this type of tamper-proof meters. This has to be decided. This has not been decided. But better would be that you can easily find other DISCOMs following the practices like NDPL and your Andhra Pradesh DISCOMs. They are following electronic meters tamper-proof of particular types. You can have a direct interaction with them and then you can find it out. Otherwise, most of the SCBs are following their own choice of LT meter sites. There is no specific common things has been proposed on this line presently.
Thank you, Mr. Sunil Kumar. Now, energy audit part is over, and I would like to request Mr. Chakravarti to initiate discussions on the energy accounting.
As I said earlier, energy accounting is one of tool which is helpful in conducting the energy auditing. Let's get into the introduction part of it. Energy accounting forms a basis for detailed and complete evaluation of the power supply system. This in fact becomes the base for the complete evaluation of the power supply system. So it's a system of recording, analyzing and reporting, that is recording and monitoring and analyzing and reporting energy consumption and cost on a regular basis. This helps in accurate accounting of the energy generated, transferred, as well as the energy lost and revenue realized at each level of power generation, transmission and distribution. So it's just like a doctor monitoring your temperature and then saying that your health is okay or not. So some sort of that you, I mean, as a layman, you can take this in that format only. Energy accounting is needed to estimate the aggregate technical and commercial losses. Without this, we cannot assess what are these losses and determine their sources in the utilities so that measures could be taken to reduce them. Your book has very well explained all these aspects. I think it is a very good piece of work done by the authors when energy accounting section has been explained. So my presentation is basically taken from your book only, and I would suggest you kindly go through this line by line, and you will be in a position to appreciate the efforts put in by the authors. The energy accounting also facilitate increased revenue realization for the energy supply to the consumers through the identification of areas and causes of high energy losses and cutting down its own expenses on account of the operational inefficiencies. It also helps the utility in bringing accountability and efficiency in its work. So these three things, aggregate technical and commercial losses, then increased revenue utilization, and bringing in the accountability. So energy accounting can help us. If you look at this figure, the figure shows energy accounting accounts for energy available, energy consumed, energy losses, that is difference of energy available and energy consumed, then revenue realized and revenue losses. What is the need for energy accounting? A comprehensive energy accounting system would enable the utility to quantify losses in different segments of the system and pinpoint the areas that lead to high commercial losses. If you want to assess the different losses in different segments of the system, we need energy accounting. Secondly, energy problems and billing errors could be identified and tackled. Until unless accounting is done, energy accounting is done, we will not be in a position to identify such errors. It would provide a basis for prioritizing energy capital investments and prepare a more accurate budget. It will help us in future planning also. With the help of energy accounting, you could evaluate the success of your energy conservation and management efforts. Whatever actions have been initiated on the basis of energy auditing, you can assess only once the energy accounting has been carried out. And you could create incentives for energy management. There have been certain cases where the distribution companies have given incentives to their workforce based on such systems. Objectives and functioning of energy accounting. What we need to do when we do energy accounting, so basically these slides display that. Prepare an energy account on each feeder to record the quantum of energy received and the quantum of energy supplied to various customers. That is input output. Segregate losses into technical and non-technical losses, that we can do as we discussed earlier. Identify areas of mismatch between billing and revenue collection. Improve metering, billing and collection. Identify high loss areas and remedial steps for reduction of both technical and commercial losses. Prepare benchmarks of actual system losses with the standards. So far I don't think so we have developed standards for DISCOMs, but there have been certain guidelines in the APDRP program. But as we have experienced in case of industry, this is a very, very tedious process. It's not easy to define standards and have the benchmark. But surely with the passage of time, we will be in a position to come out with such standards and norms. I would like to recall your attention that there is a provision in the Energy Conservation Act where the designated consumer, for example a distribution company, has also to meet the prescribed energy consumption standards and norms. There would be, under the Act, there would be a mandatory requirement, a DISCOM to abide by the energy consumption standards and norms. Then continuously review the progress made in the remedial action initiated earlier. These are the objectives of energy accounting. In your book it has been said that on such areas we can have discussions in the teleconferencing. If such discussion has not taken place, I would propose that if you have certain question on this, you may please ask. But these are the basically dealing right from the generating to the final utilization points. It says like this: generating station efficiency and transmission and distribution efficiencies. What are the levels at which our generating stations efficiencies are there and T&D efficiencies are there? Monitoring conformity with the metering requirements, preparing energy flow diagrams, energy balancing, performance degradation analysis, benchmarking, fuel procurement and handling efficiency, estimation of non-metered consumption, trend analysis and forecasting, auxiliary and captive consumption, and generating management information system reports. These are the areas which were mentioned in your book that we can have discussion on teleconferencing. I can't say that I'll be in a position or we'll be in a position, the panelists will be in a position to reply to your all queries, but if you have any question on such areas, kindly do ask so. Aggregate technical and commercial losses in the power distribution network. It could be some repetition what we have discussed earlier, but for the sake of clarity, let me explain this thing. Technical losses in the network occur on account of losses in conductors due to conversion of electrical energy to heat energy, that is I square R loss. Again, please remember current and resistance. These are the two parameters. If we have clearly understood, we can easily understand, we can easily work out the technical losses, and which includes transformer losses, overloading of existing lines, poor maintenance and repair of equipment, inadequate reactive compensation, as we said earlier, the series and shunt compensation, lack of moderation of old lines and equipment, low HT to LT ratio, that is our LT lines are bigger than our high tension lines. So these losses occur because of they contribute to technical losses. Second is the commercial losses. They are again due to non-performing, underperforming and defective meters, erroneous multiplying factors, defects in circuitry, non-reading of meters, pilferage by multiplying, manipulating or bypassing meters, tampering of meters, theft by direct tapping. Yesterday night I was told by one of my friend that whenever we go for the modern gadgets, there will be always some solutions of tampering those gadgets, and I was told some remotes have been invented by some scholars which can stop the meter, even though the meters may be installed on the pole and may not be in your house premises, but they are in a position to switch off the meter during night time and again switch on the meter early morning so that it is never detected, and these remotes are in circulation. I don't know to what extent his information was correct, but I think there will be such type of always measures under circulation where this type of manipulation may happen. AT&'s commercial losses in the power distribution network. So the sum total of technical and commercial losses, normally what we see, transmission and distribution loss. Please be very clear on this aspect. We keep on hearing aggregate technical and commercial losses. So this particular slides, that's why I was saying your book has been written very well. You kindly read it thoroughly, and once you read these pages in your book, you will be in a position to appreciate what efforts your authors have taken in explaining these terms. The sum total of technical and commercial losses is terms and transmission and distribution losses. Transmission and distribution losses, please note, is not the total technical loss. It also includes the commercial loss. So it is a difference between the energy inputs and units for which bills are raised, that is sending end energy, and for which the bills have been raised. So that difference is the T&D loss. So T&D loss does not capture revenue losses on account of factors such as non-realization of payment for the billed units due to reasons such as non-billing, defective billing and poor collection. So the term aggregate of T&D loss and revenue loss has been said as aggregate technical and commercial losses, which is the difference between the units input into the system and the units for which the payment is collected. So it's a business definition. Whatever units we send in and for the units for which we have really collected the payment. So that's the AT&C loss. So this example again I have taken from your book. For example, units inputs are 100 million units and units billed are 70 million units. So T&D loss is 30 MU. Now let's suppose that revenue collection with reference to billed demand is 90%. That is of 70 million units, only 90% amount is being bill is being collected. So that means the payment is being realized is for 63 million units. So the AT&C losses that we work out 100 minus 63 is 37 million unit. Now this organization structure and areas of responsibility for energy accounting, I think APDRP has said on this, and chief engineer has been made in charge of zone, and superintending engineer has been made in charge of the circles, because each town or zone can be bifurcated into circles, and each circle will have substations, and assistant engineer or another engineer could be in charge of that substation, and from each substation the feeders are going out, and the junior engineer is made charge of that feeder. This is basically again a figure taken from your book, and you can see the tree, how the tree is flowing. Superintending engineer being the charge of the circle level, assistant engineer being the charge of substation level, and junior engineer being charge of the feeder level. So responsibility and accountability has been fixed now. Energy balance is somewhat I think mismatch in this particular chapter in energy accounting, but good to understand the whole concept. Basically, what is the energy input and what is the energy output? If both the factors are balanced indirectly, then it's an ideal situation, but it never happens. It happens in one particular system, which is a refrigeration system. 1 watt of energy input gives you more wattage of heat output, or takes out more wattage of heat output. So there we don't define efficiency, we define coefficient of performance. So you might have seen when the for air conditioners the figures have been mentioned for when the labeling concept has come. It is ranging from 2 to 3 something. So 1 watt of energy gives you 2 watt or 3 watt of energy output. But in case of other systems, basically energy output will always be less than energy input, as was shown to you by our Director General earlier when he was explaining energy conservation on the case of CFL, that is to get 1 unit of output, we are feeding in 100 unit of energy input. That's basically the energy balance. You can see that. Now, if you look into energy balance equation of a country, I'm explaining this because it is mentioned in your book. We may have local primary energy sources. We will have our indigenous reserves. Then we may be importing. For example, we are importing 70% of our petroleum product to meet our petroleum product demand. We are not self-sufficient in meeting our petroleum product. Even some percentage of coal is also being imported. Some power station and cement power plant and iron and steel industry, they are importing good quality coal. So some part of energy is being imported. So that is the energy input to any country. Then we have energy use on the energy output side. For example, we have fertilizer industry where energy is used as a raw material, petrochemical industry where energy is used as a raw material, so that's energy use. Then we have energy losses, converting primary energy or the energy input into secondary energy, useful final energy, where the losses do occur. In the refineries we have 7 to 8% losses. In your power station, when we convert fossil fuel energy into electrical energy, we waste anywhere between 65 to 70% of the energy input. So these are the losses. Then we also lose on transportation, transmission and distribution. So these are the losses which do incur when the primary energy is converted into final useful energy. Then we may have energy exports also. Some of the petroleum products are being exported, so there could be export also. Then reduction of stock storages, that is today say we have a balance of 100 units of energy, but after a certain period we may have 90, so we consume extra 10, so that is also to be taken into account. Then there could be a statistical difference. So these are the energy balance if a country or society is concerned. So coming back again to the subject, how to measure and separate the technical and commercial losses. So basically the total loss is equal to energy input measures at the feeder end minus the recorded consumption, that's the total loss. So using the modern distribution system analysis software, there are software, I would request Mr. Sunil to explain such type of softwares which are available, which do help in identifying what are the technical losses. If you simulate, you feed in the various technical parameters, you will be in a position to find out what are the technical losses. So non-technical losses then will be the total loss minus loss obtained from simulation studies, that is technical loss. That's a non-technical losses. So in Central Electricity Authority have defined what type of losses do occur. Step up transformer and extra high voltage transmission system 0.5 to 1%. Then we have transformation to intermediate voltage level, transmission system, and step down to sub-transmission voltage level. The losses could be in the range of 1.5 to 3%. These are all ideal losses. Then sub-transmission system and step down to distribution voltage level, the losses may range between 2.25 to 4.5%. And distribution lines and service connection 4 to 7%. So in total, these technical losses could be in the range of 8.25% to 15.5%. So although it is said that energy accounting is the first step which to be taken before energy audit is conducted, but there will be problems. There will be a lack of meters, inadequate workforce, as we heard from one of our learners in Delhi, that very few staffs are available. So this problem may exist in other circles or areas also. Then insufficient number of computers, because it's an age of IT interface, we need to have sufficient number of such accessories, as well as the capabilities of our people to handle such equipment. Then time parallax in data collection, as we discussed earlier, that the same day the distribution transformer readings and the consumer readings have to be taken. Then the correction in workforce. This is one thing which I think very difficult to handle. The habits have gone wrong since the systems were in place, but now we are able to see, because the competition coming and accountability is being imposed, these things are now getting corrected. The last slide, the use of information technology for energy accounting.
Yeah. Yeah, Delhi, please speak. Please speak.
Good morning again. I am J.K. Garg. There are two queries. Question number one is there any plan or program to give MBA degree in power management? And second question is, in the exam of energy auditor, and the books we read for the preparation, we found the unit system was SPS and MKS. whereas in all the universe we have adopted SI system. Why the same has not been adopted by B? Why the same has not been adopted by B? Thank you.
Mr. Chakravarti, you can take the second part of the question. System.
I think India is following MKS system, and why we have given exposure to our energy professional, the FPS and MKS. The air conditioning facilities still use FPS system. They talk in degree Fahrenheit because the range we talk, temperature range what we are talking is very, very small, where FPS scale gives better reading that way. But the purpose was to inform our candidates all type of system. If you look into the analysis aspect of energy performance assessment of utility equipment and system, we are talking in joules. We are talking in SI systems. Majority of our numericals, majority of our exercises, what we are saying in SI system. Since both these systems are in place, our industry is following MKS system and our air conditioning industry is following FPS system. So we needed to have combination of all the systems to be informed to our candidates. That was the reason.
Last 2 minutes.
Regarding the first part of the question, I would like to inform that at IGNOU, we first do the need analysis before launching any program. So, and this program, in the first program, Advanced Certificate in Power Distribution Management, this is the first module, and we can launch further higher programs also, and we have the modularity that from one program one learner can go to the another program. So based on the need analysis, that what is the response or what is the need of the sector, we may go for that MBA degree also, but it will take some time before launching such type of degree. And we are, would you like to say?
There is one parallel program is happening in MDI with the help of outside international agency, and that is dealing with SEB professionals to train them on the MBA lines only for distribution management systems. So that can also be referred in this case.
Yeah, that program run by the Power Ministry along with that USAID under the DRUM project, that MDI. So if you are interested, then you can go for that program also. We are coming to the end of this session. So thank you, Dr. Chakravarti. We will meet after 15 minutes of time, and we as requested by Mr. Mistry from Gujarat, I think, we will take your query in that initial minutes of the next session. We will respond to your query again, because as you said that you could not listen because of the power failure. So we will have it in the initial minutes of the next session. So we will meet after 15 minutes at 12 o'clock. Thank you.